Alright, welcome to this video. I am building a 20-foot catamaran in my garage, and this is an exciting episode because the hull is standing up. This is the port hull, and it is standing up on its own. This will be the top of the cabin right here, so I would almost be able to stand up. I would just have to duck a little bit to be able to stand up inside the hull. So yeah, so I'm gonna follow along, and I'm gonna show you all the steps of some more work on the stringers in this video, and sanding them, getting them to the right angle, and all of that was in preparation for being able to stand this hull up. And I need to stand it up because I need to make room here on the build platform for the starboard hull to come next. So, alright, so let me show you all the steps involved. I started out by gluing the second piece of the stringer on down here at the bottom, and it's a little difficult because it's kind of upside down right now and very close to the build platform here, so we'll have to manage to get that in and put it all in at once. I didn't do the other two pieces, so those two will be next, and I didn't have to worry about just tacking it in at the front because I had the first piece of stringer. Then I had a good clamping surface all along here. So the next step will be to get these two pieces in. One other thing that I just thought about is while I'm doing some of these larger stringers, I will usually have some epoxy left over, and I try to have a smaller support wood ready to go to be epoxied in place, such as this piece along bulkhead number 1. And earlier I had done these support pieces here on the inner hull side up to the bridge deck stringer. So here I'm talking about this piece right here and this piece. So as I'm doing these stringers, I will try to also be adding these extra pieces of support in. So for instance, here at bulkhead 5, I need a piece here, like I've already added here at bulkhead 6, so something like that. So I'm just kind of filling these in as I go, and trying to make the most efficient use of the epoxy. All 4 of the strips of southern yellow pine are now in place and epoxied for this cabin top stringer. And I have the next 4 pieces. Let's see, there's 3 here. There's one more somewhere. But I do have 4 of these pieces of southern yellow pine ready to go. And that is to make another stringer right here. Each cabin top of the hull will get 2 of these stringers. Now, the entire cabin top, when this hull is flipped up and sitting upright, this is actually the port hull. So it might seem like when it flips up, this is going to be the starboard side, but it's going to get flipped up and then moved back this way. So this is the port hull. But what I want to point out is that each of these cabin top here at the hull side is going to get 2 of these stringers. And the eventual cabin top that's going to come across here, I would like to be flat, except for maybe a slight bend down. And it's going to be very difficult to get the 2 stringers on this hull side and the 2 stringers on the other hull side to line up in a perfect line. So I'm thinking that I'm going to hold off on this next stringer and put it in place once the hulls are raised up and they're standing up straight and I've got the hulls joined, and then I can bring a straight edge across the entire hull top, and when I put these stringers in, I'll be able to align the stringers in a straight line, because there is a slight curve here to this, and I want that curve, so I want all 4 of those stringers, 2 on the port side and 2 on the starboard side, all 4 of those stringers to be lined up in a gently curving plane that will be the cabin top. So I think the best way to do that is to hold off on these stringers until later. And that brings me to another, I guess, general premise that I'm going to start following is instead of trying to do everything on this hull for right now, I'm only going to do what I absolutely need to right now while it's laying down, and then I'm going to flip it up and I'm going to start working on the other hull side. And the idea there is that to not let one of these hulls get so far ahead of the other one that I might run into problems like this without noticing it. So I'm going to put some of the missing support boards, for instance, get these support boards in here. I'm going to get the support boards here that will define the airtight compartments, and I'm probably going to hold off on actually planking this edge or this side until I get the other hull to the same level of completion as this hull. So that's the plan right now. For the bow of the boat and the airtight compartments, the original plans have 2 compartments about this size. I've put some boards here to show where the top of the airtight compartment would be, here and here. And like I'm doing in the rear of the boat, I want to make these a little bigger, so I would be moving these up a bit to about here, like that. And then I got to thinking, well, okay, if I do that, I want to have some type of access to those airtight compartments. So that means I would have to have, for this one, some type of like a sealed a screw-on hatch or something like that for this compartment, and something here. And it's really getting difficult in here at the bow of the boat to find a place to put an access hatch. So I'm thinking for the very front compartment, I'm going to make this entire compartment an airtight compartment here. So this entire thing up here will be an airtight compartment, and with that I'm thinking I don't need an airtight compartment here between bulkhead 1 and 2 anymore. So I'm going to remove this, and this entire compartment now will be usable. It might be for storage, or it might be for maybe some of the holding tanks or something like that. I don't want to put a lot of weight up here at the front, so I have to be careful about that. But I think this will be a good storage compartment, and that means that this entire front area will be a airtight compartment. And for access to it, I'm thinking that I can put some type of sealable hatch, maybe like right in here, and be able to get access through this bulkhead to this front compartment if there needs to be any servicing or inspection or anything like that done to it. So that's the plan, and that means that I don't need to do any more work at the front of the boat here for the airtight compartments, because this very front compartment will already be sealed off as it is. I finished adding these support pieces for the rear airtight flotation compartments. Here's one. This is between bulkheads 4 and 5, and this is the last one here between bulkheads 5 and 6. And all these really are is just some of the square pieces of southern yellow pine that have been epoxied on, and this will form the top of the flotation compartments, as well as this will be covered and will form the bottom of the storage compartments as well. And this piece that is in here will have an access hatch to be able to service the flotation compartments when needed. For this last flotation compartment, I'd actually considered making it a little bigger and using this bridge deck stringer as one of the sides and bringing it straight down like this. And what that would have allowed me to do is take the bridge deck planking and run it straight all the way down to the outside hull side and use that as the top of the flotation compartment. But I mean, it would make the flotation compartment a lot bigger, but I don't think it needs to be that big. That would take up, well, it would remove probably about 6 cubic feet of storage, and I just don't think it needs to be that big. So I went with the flotation compartment being the same level with this flotation compartment here. I mentioned in an earlier video that I would need to build up this surface because the support wood here was a little bit short compared to the sides here. So I put some spare cedar on there and then sanded it down to the same angle as the stringers here, and along here as well. Filled that in and put an extra little bit of wood there. And since I was sanding, I also sanded the angles of the stringers so that they match the bulkheads like this now. And stringers like this also needed to be sanded. And this one matches quite well. And coming down here, this also matches. So looking down at the stringer, you can see that it has that angle all along it to match the angle of the inside hull now. And I'm getting ready to stand this hull up. I've got one more task to do before I stand it, and that is here along this glue joint down here. I need to sand this because there's some epoxy sticking out, and when I stand it up I don't want to tear up the plastic on the build platform. So I'll get that sanded, and while I'm doing all of that, I'm taking the opportunity to cut more of the pieces, the stringer pieces, from the larger southern yellow pine boards. I'm cutting 12 feet long pieces here of these. They're a little over 1 inch wide. They're about 1 inch and 1/16 inch wide. So I'm going to need about 18 of those, and it's going to be a lot easier to cut them now, so that's what I'm doing. With the bottom edge sanded, I was able to turn the hull right side up and stand it on the hull bottom. And here it is. I'm just walking along here. The build platform is creaking a bit because I can't get the whole hull in one shot. It's too long. But this is what it looks like with the hull standing up. And I've moved things around and made room for the let's see, this is the starboard hull, and put the curve jig underneath it already. And I started to put the sandbags on it, and then I realized that I want to sand everything first, so I took the sandbags off. And yeah, so the next step is to start working on the starboard hull. So I'm going to end this video. This is I think a major accomplishment to get one hull standing up on its own. Alright, that'll be all. Bye.